Good evening. Welcome to my predictions for Anthony Hernandez versus Gregory Rodrigues. So this is actually a pretty freaking solid fight night card here. We've got a good main event there. We've also got Reinier, Mason Jones, Chris Padilla, Carli Judice, which is actually an exciting women's fighter, which is quite rare. And, some other bangers. We've got a Spivac and fucking somehow Spivac's the co-main, even though there's way more exciting fights on the card. And yeah, it's actually a pretty stacked fight night. But the main event, Anthony Rodrigues versus Gregory Rodrigues. I'm going Anthony Rodrigues here. I feel like Anthony Rodrigues should be at least like medium favorite, like slight favorite. I don't know. I think he's way better than Rodrigues. All Rodrigues has is power. I know that the commentary team's always like, oh, Rodrigues, bro. He was like in the IBBJJF or whatever. He was, but it was like in 2014, it was like blue belt. It wasn't even black belt. He was in like a grappling tournament. He won a grappling tournament, like a Brazilian, I forgot what it's called, like IBBJF, whatever the fuck that shit is. It's like the big one in Brazil. I think it's like the second biggest one in the world or whatever. But it was purple belt, and it was in like 2014. And the commentary is always like, oh my god, people forget, man, Rodrigues is like the best grappler of all time, but he never uses it. It's crazy. And also about these IBJJF and like these Brazilian Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu BJJ guys. These BJJ guys that have like insane BJJ records, they come in MMA. I feel like 9 times out of 10 they can't use their BJJ in MMA. Like who was that like the goat of BJJ that came in and he like lost to like 2 blob heavyweights. I can't remember his name, but you know what I'm talking about. Like I feel like BJJ guys, their main problem is they have no wrestling, and I think strikes make the submissions hard to get or something, because there's so many BJJ guys. They're like, oh, this guy, craziest BJJ guy of all time. He comes in and gets destroyed. Like he just can't use his BJJ in MMA. And I think that it's not the case that Rodrigues just doesn't use his BJJ. He just fell in love with knocking people out, and that's why he always stands on the feet. No, I feel like he can't implement his game in MMA. And Rodrigues' game is built all around MMA. Like he's actually an MMA purist. And you might say, oh, Rodrigues, he's always dangerous, but he might knock him out. Hernandez has fought really dangerous guys on the feet before. Edmund Shabazz and Michel Pereira recently. Those are probably like the 2 most prolific first-round finishers, like heavy power hitter guys early. I don't think Rodrigues is even on that level. I think Rodrigues does also he's kind of different where he can carry his power into later rounds, so he's always dangerous. But I think that Hernandez is going to have no trouble like utilizing his game against Rodrigues. Yeah, I feel like he's just going to be able to push him back, use pressure. He'll always have Rodrigues back on the back foot. Hernandez is able to get on the inside. I feel like he's going to be able to push him back, wilt him, get him down. I think maybe he'll hold him against the fence round 1, like do some knees, like do some body work and start gassing him out. And I think that he's going to have like a really oppressive game on Rodrigues, and Rodrigues is going to have very little pushback. I feel like he's going to be kind of stuck in the mud. And I think this will go late. I think it'll be like a championship round finish by Anthony Hernandez. I think he'll probably TKO him though, because I will give Rodrigues a bit of respect on the BJJ, I guess, even though I kind of just shat all over it. But I don't think Hernandez will be able to finish him with submissions. I think that he'll wilt him down and finish him round 4 with like ground and pound probably. Okay, then we've got the co-main. I don't know how this is the co-main. I think Carli Judice's fight could have been the co-main over this. I don't know. Does anyone give a fuck about Spivac anymore? And Petrino, he's the slight favorite here. Okay, so that's fair enough, slight favorite. But I feel like that people are overrating Petrino pretty highly. Like I think people are gassing him up a bit crazy. He's got 3 wins: Austin Lane, Thomas Peterson, Stephen Asplund. I like Stephen Asplund, but he's not that good. Those 3 wins are not that impressive. And he got beaten by fucking Anthony Smith. Do people forget that? He got beaten in round 1 by Anthony Smith. Taken down and finished by Anthony Smith. Like late career Anthony Smith. Dude. Holy shit. How does that happen? And Spivac's solid, bro. He's only lost, I think he had like, one of his first UFC fights he lost to kind of like a can. But since then, he's only lost to elite guys. He's like 4 most recent losses: Aspinall, Garn, Almeida, Waldo, Cortez Acosta. That's the only guys he's lost to in like the last like 10 years. So, I don't think Petrino's on that level. He beats every other guy that's not that level. And Petrino got taken down by Anthony Smith. And Spivac, if he can take you down, he's dangerous as fuck on the ground. I think that Spivac's going to get him down and he's going to finish him in round 1. Maybe not round... I think he's going to get him down, finish him round 1. That's my prediction. But I could also see him just getting him down rounds 1 and 2, getting him super tired, and then maybe staying on the feet round 3 and beating him. Because I think Petrino's also like a fast twitch muscle, like really bulky guy. I'm confident in Spivac here. I think that, I mean, it's only slight favorite. It's not like he's a heavy favorite. But I think that people are sleeping on Spivac, bro. Spivac's decent. I don't think he's gonna ever challenge for the title. I could see him never getting back in the top 5, but people that aren't elite, I think Spivac will always beat. And if Anthony Smith can take you down and finish you, Spivac will take you down and finish you, bro. I'll tell you that much. Okay, then we got, how is this not the co-main? I think Mason Jones or this should have been the co-main. But Reinier Dorida versus Roman Dolidze. Dorida coming in as the minus 350. You know, I was high on Dorida, but after his last 2 losses, man, I thought that he said he was going to move up to light heavyweight. I swear he said he was going to move to light heavyweight. Like in his press conference, he was like, yeah, I'm going light heavyweight, bro. That's not really how he talks, but I swear he said that because, you know, his gas tank's fucked. But then I do remember I saw something, it was like on his channel, like Dorida's YouTube channel. I haven't seen that recommended to me in ages. I don't think I subbed to him. But I remember he went to the doctors and he said he got diagnosed with some like red blood cell issue or some shit. And apparently he fixed it. I remember him saying that. So yeah, I don't know if that's co-op or he just made that up. But I remember him legit going to a doctor's office and everything. So I'm going to believe it. At first, when I saw this fight, I was like, oh, I think Dolidze's way older. But you can see here, he's 38 and then Dorida's like damn near 35. Like in a couple of weeks, he's going to be 36. In a couple of weeks, he's going to be 36. So they're actually pretty close in age. Dorida was hanging around in ONE FC for a long time. So that's why, you know, he kind of seems younger. Whereas Dolidze's been hanging around UFC doing fucking nothing for like fucking 20 years. I think this fight is actually kind of close. Like, I think after Dolidze got like that really embarrassing like bully choke that Hernandez hit him with, where he like pulled him off the cage and just choked him. It looked really good. Like, it looked really bad for Dolidze. Like that was like kind of like an aura loss moment, if you say, even though it's fucking cringe. But, yeah. I think that's why Dorida's such a high favorite. But Dolidze, man, you know, he's alright, bro. He's alright. I think Dorida is better. And I was kind of flip-flopping a little bit. I was like, damn, like, could Dolidze do this? Like, I could see Dolidze giving him problems on the feet, like pushing Dorida back. And I know Hernandez completely destroyed Dolidze, but Hernandez actually has decent, like, American-style wrestling. Dorida has no wrestling. He's like a pure BJJ. That's his main issue, really. He has no way to get people down. Dolidze's a big dude, so it might be hard for Dorida to get him down. But then I was like, wait. Fucking Dorida stood in there with Bobby fucking Knuckles. And, you know, he beat Bobby Knuckles pretty much on the feet exclusively. And Bobby Knuckles is way more dynamic than Roman Dolidze. It's kind of fighter math. I think Dorida is going to struggle to get Dolidze down. I think this is a lot closer than it seems. And if Dorida actually gasses out, I think Dolidze could fuck him up. But it's only 3 rounds. I think that the Dutch kickboxing will come in clutch. Maybe he'll be able to trip Dolidze or something. I think I'm going to give it to Dorida by decision because it's only 3 rounds, so he's not going to gas out. I don't know. I think it's kind of close though, honestly. Like I feel like Dorida's going to have real trouble getting Dolidze down, and I'm not sure if he's going to outshine Dolidze on the feet by that wide of a margin. But I will go Dorida by decision. I think it'll be closer, honestly. Oh, here we go. MarQuel Mederos versus Mason Jones. I'm a huge Mason Jones fan. I think, you know, I'm not really like the only one. Like everyone's on this guy right now. Yeah, he's on a 7-fight win streak. Mason Jones freebie in the UFC after he got released by the UFC after his first stint. He just came off I don't know if it was last fight. I think it was his last fight or the fight before that, where Axel Solar fight. That was a really fucking good fight. And I think Axel Soul actually fought recently, and he has like an actual like really bad cut, the permanent cut. Like Mason Jones fucked him up. But that was a fucking great fight. One of the best fights was it last year? Okay, it was a really good fight. Mederos is a fast and dynamic striker with good power. Good power, but he has actually no finish in the UFC so far. I think he has like 3-4 fights. I think he has power, but he's more like a Max Holloway type fighter where if he lets it go, he has power, but he kind of prefers to be like more safe volume striker. And I think that does not play well into Mason Jones. I think the way I see this fight going, like play by play, I think it'll be the typical Mason Jones fight. I feel like he always gets almost finished in the first round, like the first few minutes. I can see him overextending. Mederos getting with a really clean like slip counter, like right hook or some shit, dropping him. But I think Mason Jones will survive. Like maybe he'll grab a leg. Like maybe it'll look like he's getting hammer fisted. Maybe he'll almost get finished, but I think he'll survive. And I think that he'll be able to like maybe get him down with like a really weird like Anthony Smith single leg. I think Mason Jones always does that. Or like he'll just survive somehow. Like I don't know. Maybe he'll get it, go on his back and kick him off with his legs or some shit. He'll get back up, and I think that he'll be on the pace pushing Mederos back. And I don't think Mederos has that dog in him like Axel Solo. Like he seems like kind of like a more like he enjoys like a kickboxing style fight. And I think if Mason Jones starts turning it into a dog fight, I think Mederos is gonna crumble, bro. Like Axel Solo is a dog. Like that fight was crazy, and I think a lot of people would not hang in there with Mason Jones the way Axel Solo did. And yeah, Mederos has no KOs, so I don't see him finishing Jones, and I think Jones will. It'll be a Jones classic, bro. I don't think it'll be like a fight of the night type thing, because I think that Mederos will wilter hard, but when you get Jones wins for sure, I think it'll be a round 2 TKO from ground and pound, I think. And we got Carli Judice. I'm actually hyped for this. I think Carli Judice has 3 bonuses in the last 4 fights. I think like 1 fight of the night and then 2 performance bonuses. Like she's actually an exciting female fighter. I think she's definitely going to be a contender. She's coming out a shutout victory over Juliana Miller. I think that was the one fight she didn't finish and the one fight that she didn't get a bonus. But you know, Juliana Miller had a really impressive fight last fight, and you know, even though she has a negative record, Juliana Miller, I think she's actually pretty solid. Yeah, Chaves, I don't know, she beat that chick that had that really viral KO, the Mexican like bigger lady, the Torta. Oh, even that like knocked out that chick on Contender Series a few years ago. I don't know if you remember that, but yeah, she beat her. Yeah, I think Carli Judice has got this, bro. In the bag, I think Carli Judice is actually a lead here. Decision. I think decision though, yeah, because I had some reason, I can't remember. I think yeah, Chaves just kind of like blockhead. I think kind of like blockhead. I don't think she's ever been finished. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of getting the vibe that it's going to be a decision. I could see Judy's finishing it though. This main cut fight is just stupid. This Anthony Wint guy is going to win 1,000,000%. The Chatman guy, he has fought. Is it making his UFC debut again? I don't know why they just keep putting UFC debutants in to get fucking to get beaten. Yeah, but Chatman's making his UFC debut. He fought in Fury FC, and the people that he fought have such bad records. Like he fought some guys with like negative records. He fought like a bunch of guys that were like 0-2, like a 2-0, and like he also lost to a guy. I think the one guy he lost to actually had a pretty decent record, but all the other fights in Fury FC he fought, they had shit records. Wint was actually the heavyweight champion in the same division in Fury FC before he did his Contender Series fight and his UFC debut. And you know, he's looked impressive in both those fights. I think this is a clear setup for Wint to get like a victory at least. I think it's kind of not really set up for him to get a KO because this Chatman guy's never been finished. I think Wint probably will finish him, but I don't know if he's going to get him round 1. I think probably Wint KO round 2. But yeah, this is just a setup for Wint to win. Okay, then we've got Jamall Emmers versus Lerryan Douglas. This is kind of a hype fight as well. Like Lerryan Douglas, you know, I think they're trying to push him. And if he gets through Jamall Emmers, that's a good sign because Jamall Emmers is pretty good. He's pretty legit. Yeah. Emmers is 5-4 in the UFC. He has lost to Nate Lammer and Jack Jenkins, though. He's also been KO'd 3 times. So that's why I'm going to go with Lerryan Douglas K1 round 1. I do worry about Lerryan Douglas, though, because I feel like he's kind of has like a Connor type of build, like super explosive, but he gasses out. I think we saw that in his last fight where he went to decision. Like, he's really dangerous round 1, but if you can survive, his shots lose a lot of pop. I think he's like a fast switch muscle guy. And Jamall Emmers is pretty legit. I think he's way slower and less dynamic on the feet, but I think he's more well-rounded than Lerryan Douglas. I think if he can survive round 1, he might be able to put Douglas into like deep waters and maybe get him against the fence and kind of tire him out. And I could see Jamall Emmers winning 2-3, but I could also see Douglas winning rounds 1 and 2 before like his arms flat with blood. Either way, I think Douglas will probably win, but I think this will be a pretty close fight. I'd say like heavy favorites a bit crazy. I think Jamall Emmers is pretty decent, but I do think Douglas will catch him round 1. I think. Okay, here we go. The GOAT Shamil Gaziev coming up. I'm worried for Shamil here a little bit. I do like Shamil, but I feel like if he can't get you down, and if you're not just standing in front of him, like letting him get a power shot off, he's kind of cooked. Like, if you can't get him down and you have any foot movement whatsoever, he's kind of fucking just blobs at you with no footwork, just walks at you and just gets pieced up. And I think Kenny Nzechukwu, he's actually pretty alright in the field. I feel like he has some decent footwork. He was light heavy for a bit, and he went up to heavy. And I feel like he's way more dynamic on the feet, and he's not just going to stand around and get fucking knocked out by Shamil. Like, you need to be pretty fucking blob max to get knocked out by Shamil. But, however, I do think Shamil will be able to get Kennedy down here. I mean, I don't really remember Kennedy's takedown defense getting that checked, but Shamil has also lost to some pretty not elite guys. They've both just kind of fucking fought blobs. I mean, Gaziev got that random push-up, like 20 spots in the rankings, and they put him against Wilder, and Wilder completely fucked him up. And it kind of exposed the fact that if Shamil can't get the takedown and you move around at all, he just walks at you with his fucking hands on the ground, like spitting he always has his mouthpiece like half out, and he just walks at you and gets punched in the face. But I don't think Kennedy's going to be elite enough to deal with Shamil Gaziev's 600-pound zombie maxing at him, and I think that he'll get pushed against the cage and taken down. And Shamil, when he actually gets you down, if he gets him down early and he's not already gassed, like spitting his mouthpiece out of his mouth, he can finish. He's pretty dangerous on the ground. And I think that he will get Kennedy down and finish him on the ground in round 1. I could see Kennedy, if Kennedy defends a takedown, I think Shamil's cooked. Because Kennedy actually has decent footwork, and I think he'll just piece him up for 3 rounds. Maybe finish him. I don't know. Shamil is pretty tough. He's pretty block-headed, but Kennedy does have some decent power. And yeah, I think if Kennedy defends 1 or 2 takedowns, he's going to win, but I don't think he will. I think Shamil will get him down and finish in round 1. Nasrat Haqparast versus Chris Padilla. Chris Padilla's on the come-up. I don't know how this is minus 110. I've got Chris Padilla here. I think he's like way better than Haqparast. Haqparast is good. Like, he's on a pretty good win streak. But, some of those wins he got were pretty close. Like, the Ribovics fight was close. I do think he won that one. But the Jared Gordon fight, I think everyone thinks Jared Gordon won that. He got fucking robbed. And, he did just get KO round 1, head kicked by Quillen Salco, like a really nasty KO. Padilla's undefeated in the UFC. He got 1 draw, but, he's beat some good guys. I think Padilla... I think Haqparast on the feet is just as good as Padilla, but Padilla's better at mixing it up, and his ground game's way better than Haqparast. Haqparast seems like he's like a jack of all trades, but doesn't really excel anywhere. Whereas Padilla, I think his ability to mix it up and his ability to hang in the pocket, he actually has some ace factor about him. Whereas I think Haqparast is just very 50% overall, whereas Padilla's 75%. Yeah, I'm gonna go Padilla here. I don't think it'll be a KO though, because Haqparast just got KO'd, so I think he'll be a bit more tentative. And also, Haqparast did go all 3 rounds with Ribovics, and Ribovics is a really fucking out of the gate aggressive fighter. Padilla's not even really that. He does have power and he's got knockouts, but he's more of just winning every inch of the fight everywhere it goes, rather than spark some guy out cold. And I think that Padilla might rock him and stuff, and I think that Haqparast is going to be worried about getting KO'd again, so his tentativeness makes me lean even closer towards Padilla. I think Padilla's got this for sure, by decision. Okay, then we got Marcio Barbosa versus Ryan Kuse. Barbosa, a huge favorite, minus 900. This Kuse guy's another guy making his UFC debut. I don't know, these prelims, a lot of them are just making their UFC debut, and they kind of seem like they're just trying to get wins to the UFC guys. I looked at this guy's match history, his fucking fight history. He's fighting complete cans, fucking 0-0 guys, 12-16 guys, yeah. And Barbosa had a really impressive Contender Series fight, and his UFC debut was good. He beat Dennis Paducah, round 1 KO. Paducah's pretty legit. I don't think Paducah's gonna be a contender or anything, but he's pretty decent. Yeah, I think this is a clear setup for Barbosa to get a highlight reel KO here. I think Barbosa KO round 1, something nasty. Then we got Gage Young versus Stan Dorsainvil. So Stan. Stan has a 6 each reach advantage. Stan is making his UFC debut. He's coming off a 5-0 record. Only 2 fights have been in a somewhat legit org, LFA. All the rest of the fights were just some random ass org. Where, Gage Young has he's beat some legit guys. He beat Machete, Tego Moises. I think and then he lost his UFC debut. Obviously won his Contender Series to get the contract. But the 2 guys he's beaten in the UFC is pretty legit. can't really know much about Stan here, but Gage Young has beat some legit guys in the UFC that have proven, whereas Stan has not even proven anything. Gage by decision. Then we've got Jackson McVeigh versus Wes Schultz. I actually thought these two guys were the same guy. I swear, like they look the same and they kind of fight the same. They kind of have the same mannerisms. Wes Schultz, the slight favorite. Both had pretty rocky start to their UFC career. They both lost 2 when they entered or something, and they both seem kind of mid. Like I don't see both these guys not really going far. They kind of have an American wrestler, not really dynamic striking game. I think that's a really bad base. But I am gonna go for McVeigh here. He beat Rodrigues Dumas, which Dumas is pretty mid, but he's been around for a while and he's got some UFC wins. Whereas Schultz sole UFC win, he beat some guy that just was making his UFC debut. I know he was an Eternal fighter in an Australian promotion, and he looked pretty decent in Eternal, but UFC debut, and yeah, I think Serghei Dumas, I value that win moreover, and this seems so even. But yeah, I'm going to go McVeigh, probably decision. Okay, so moving on to the first fight of the night, I've got Chanel Dyer versus Elise Reed. Chanel Dyer's coming in as the huge favorite, minus 650. Chanel Dyer's had a really good fight in her first and last UFC fight, I guess. Her last fight, her first UFC fight. Whereas Elise Reed, she's been around the UFC for a while, 4-5 in the UFC. Got finished in all 5 of her defeats. I think 4 were knockout, 1 time she got subbed. Chanel Dyer's actually pretty good on the feet and actually finishes. So yeah, I think this will be a Chanel Dyer KO round 2. It's kind of a setup for her to win. Pretty confident in this one. Okay, that's all from me. Thanks for watching. It's actually a good card. I'm hyped for it. Yeah, have a good one. See ya.